Okay, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are going to start the second session of the course Project Management. In the previous class, we have learned some basics about projects. We have talked about certain characteristics about the projects. And if you remember, we have mentioned a couple of examples related to them. So if you remember, we have said for each and every project, there are certain characteristics or certain attributes, starting with unique, temporary, progressive elaboration, require resources, should have a primary sponsor or customer, and then involves uncertainty. And we said whether the project is small or the project is huge, these attributes will always be there, whether you are talking about your college project or you are talking about a multi-million construction project, these will always be there. Okay. And then we followed that by talking about the different constraints. And we said for each and every project, there will be always a limitation. There will be always some limits that I should not cross. If I cross these limits, then my project will be effective. Okay. My project is going to be effective. Today we are going to take further points which are related to a project. We are going to define a project after talking about the characteristics and the limitation of or the limits of the project. We're going to define what is the meaning or the proper definition of a project. We are going to know what are the areas in which a project manager should know. What is the definition of project management, and then how to define project managers as well. Okay. So now, according to whatever we have done, according to whatever we have discussed in the last session before yesterday, can you tell me how would you define a project after that, after whatever discussion we have had? Can you define for me what is a project? I don't want a literal definition from books. According to your understanding, how would you define a project? How would you define? Did we agree first that you are studying in the college or your study in the college is considered as a project? Do you agree with me that studying in the college is considered as a project? Okay. And what are the things that you are doing in the college? What are the things that you are doing in the college? You are studying different courses, right? You are studying different courses. Okay. So we can define a project by saying that it is a temporary, okay, it's a temporary series of tasks. Temporary means it has a start point and end point. It is a temporary, okay, it is a temporary series of tasks that needs to be done to achieve a certain target. So once again, it's a temporary, it has a beginning and end. Whenever I'm going to enter to the college, that's going to be the beginning. Whenever I'm going to graduate from the college, that's going to be the end point. So it's a temporary. There are a series of tasks that I need to take. So in the scenario of the college, then there are a series of courses that you need to study in order for you to get your certificate. So once again, it's a temporary series of tasks that needs to be done in order to achieve a target. Okay. Asila, let's say 80% whatever you have said is fine. 20% is still missing. So when I say that it's a work needed to be done with a certain plan, okay, and there will be a slight difference between project, something called project, and something called operation. We will come to it later. okay, to discuss the differences between them. Whatever you are referring here, it's more of operation rather than a project. Okay. Now, once again, these are different examples. Okay, these are different examples that we think whenever we talk about project. So some of us will think that project is related to business projects, making a restaurant, making a coffee shop, making a supermarket. So some of us think that project is related to money and business always. Some of us are thinking that projects are more into college and education. Some of us will think that project is more into working in teams, and some of us will always relate that whenever there is a project means there is a target needs to be achieved. So these are the different pictures that are available in our minds whenever we think of the word project. But the proper definition of project set by the BMI is that it's a temporary endeavor. Endeavor means task or series of tasks. So it's a temporary endeavor. It's a temporary series of tasks that needs to be done or undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. Okay. Now, when it comes to the definition, I don't want you to memorize the definition and write it for me. You can write you can write the definition in whatever form you understood. Okay. And normally in my exams, I don't bring definitions. Okay. I don't bring definitions. Is it clear? Is it clear the meaning of project? Are we clear with the meaning of project? Okay. So once again, if you remember from the characteristic, one of the basic things we said about the project is it's temporary. It has a beginning and it has an end. Okay, so we have put that particular point in our concentration. Okay, in our considerations. So once again, let us put the key lines here. So we have temporary, and unique. These are two of the main characteristics that we have mentioned or attributes. Okay, these are two of the main attributes. That it's temporary, it has a beginning and end. Series of tasks will be there always. Series of tasks is referring to progressive elaboration. And then we are creating something because it needs to be unique. If it's not unique, then it's not considered as a project. It's considered as operation. Okay. Once again, if you are doing something for the first time or something new you didn't do previously, then this is something unique, which is a project. If it's not something which is unique, then it's going to be an operation. So this is once again the definition or the proper definition of a project. There are there is more detail when it comes to project. There is something called program, and there is something called portfolio as well. Okay. Now, portfolio is a very common term for those who are studying architecture. Anybody from architecture can tell me what is the meaning of portfolio in your architecture? Each and every architecture or each and every architecture student or each and every architect should have a portfolio. Anybody? What is the meaning of portfolio?
A group of project which will list it in a paper, like to be a magazine or let's say different posters.
Okay. Another person? Any other person?
There, I think it is the results that you have done in a paper.
Your voice is breaking a lot. We cannot hear anything.
I said that it is the works or designs that you have done on a paper.
On paper. Okay. So, for example, if you are not doing it in paper, if you are doing it in the laptop, it's not within your portfolio.
No, I didn't that I meant that it is not applied to the reality.
It's not applied to reality. Okay. So whatever is applied in reality is not going to be within your portfolio. A file that contains most important project we have done with clear pictures. We didn't do it actually, but I'm planning to do as part of the CV. Okay, so the most accurate answer among all the answers is the answer that Amna has given. Okay. Um, when we talk about portfolio is a collection of whatever you have done till now. Okay, in a certain field. Okay. So once again, when I talk about architecture and those who are doing in architecture, portfolio refers to all the designs that you have done across your journey in architecture. It's not the most important one. It is everything that you have done. Okay. It is not related to pictures and whatever. Portfolio, once again, whether it's in architecture or in general, it's a sum of whatever you have done in a particular field. Okay. Now we'll make it a bit clearer with simpler examples so that civil students will understand as well. Okay. So we have, if you have seen that we have three terms. We have project, which we have already knew. We have a program, which we didn't take till now. And then we have a portfolio, which I just told you about. Okay. Now we'll have them in a simpler example, which will make it a bit easy for you. So let's say that I have these types of projects with me. I have done these projects. How many projects are there? How many projects are there? Can you count them? Okay, there are 8 projects. Okay, there are 8 projects. Are they similar or they are different? Are they similar or are they different? Different. Can I say that each one of them is representing a different project? Can I say that each and every one is representing different projects? Okay,
They
so
are
in
the
total,
same project, sir.
they are what?
They are the same project but different programs, we could say.
No, it's not the same project. These are different projects. Okay, these are different projects. Okay, once again, these are different projects. They are different. I mean, different in nature, different in looks, different in everything. Even if you are having the same building, the same design. For example, if I have this design, one I have done in Sharqiya and then another one I have done in Muscat, you cannot say that they are the same project because the area is the same. I mean, area is different. The labors might be different. The materials might be different. The colors might be different. Okay. So once again, when it comes to construction, each and every project is going to be different. You cannot have, or you cannot say that they are exactly the same, or even if the design is the same, because you are not going to deal with the same period of time. You are not going to deal with the same labors. You are not going to deal with the same consultant. Maybe you are not going to deal with the same contractor. So a lot of things are there. Okay. Now, once again, returning back to our topic, we have eight different projects here. Everyone is different, whether in shape, whether in color, whether in nature. Okay. So 8 different projects. Can we try to group them? Can we try to make groups out of them? Can we group them? Can we have like different groups? Okay. So now if you can see, I clearly can see that there are 3 groups. Okay, I can see that there are 3 groups. There is the group of residential buildings. There is the group of residential and commercial. And there is a group of whatever we call as utilities, or let's say infrastructure. Okay, so once again, we have some projects here which are residential in the second, and then we have residential and commercial, second tigari, and then we have infrastructure or utilities, which are referring to the services like the bridge here. Okay, so can you tell me how many are residential? Is this commercial, residential? What is the first one? Is it residential or commercial? Or is it residential commercial? Okay, so this is residential commercial. Okay, this is residential commercial. This is a residential building, residential, infrastructure, residential, commercial, and then we have residential. Okay, now you can see I had 8 groups. I had 8 different projects, but now I can club these projects into 3 groups. Okay, into 3 groups, which are infrastructure, residential and commercial. These groups are called programs. Okay, so I have 8 projects, but there are 3 groups. The different 8 buildings or 8 structure here are called 8 projects. The groups, whenever these structures are grouped together, then we call them the programs. Programs are similar projects, similar in nature. Okay. Are we clear about the meaning of a project and meaning of a program? Okay. Portfolio is whatever you have done. So all the 8, including all the programs, all the projects, is considered your portfolio. Okay. So once again, projects are the individual, individual tasks or individual structures that you are doing. Okay. If we are talking about construction, whenever you group them, these are the projects that they have done in highway. These are the projects that they have done in residential area. These are the projects which I have done in commercial. These are the projects which I have done in industrial. And these are the groups. These are the programs. Okay, in which I have done a couple of projects. And everything that you have done is your portfolio. Can you give me another easy example so you will understand? Not necessarily from construction, to make it a bit easier for you to understand the meaning of program, project, and the portfolio. I have given you an example now from construction. Can you have something similar? Something simpler. I have always told you, whenever you are thinking of something simpler, you will not go to the point of memorizing. You will go always for the point of understanding. Can anybody help me with an example other than construction?
Yes, sir. I would like to try.
Okay.
If we say that I am an author,
Okay.
then I'm writing different types of stories and articles. So all of them will be projects. But when I classify them, the stories will be a program. Then the articles itself also will be another program, and all of these will make my portfolio.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's another example said by your colleague. Another simpler example is, okay, you can try.
Maybe in the restaurant, when we have like several dishes in the menu, each dish is a project different from the other. If we group them like drinks or fast food, healthy food, then will be a program, and all of them will be in the profile, which is the menu.
which is good. So that's another example. Once again, as I told you, whenever you think in this manner, you will go to the point of understanding rather than memorizing. Another good example is your courses in the college. Another good example is the courses in your college. You are studying a lot of courses in the college. Okay, around 48 or 47 courses. Each course is different from the other course. Even if you have taken the course and failed in this course and have taken it in the other semester is not going to be like the previous one. Exams are different, students are different, lecturer might be different. So each and every course is different from the other course. So I have different projects. These projects can be clubbed together in different manners. I can say that these are, for example, related to, in civil, for example, these are related to structures. Like you have studied design of structures, one theory of structures, one both architecture and civil. Some are related to, for example, management, which is project management. Some are related to English, for example. You have studied public speaking, you have studied technical communication, technical writing 1, technical writing 2. Some are grouped under the science, physics 1, physics 2. You have studied them. Or you can group the courses as first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Okay. So different courses can be clubbed in different manners. 48 or 47 courses are considered the different projects. Okay. When you group them, you can group them according to whatever perspective you are looking from. Physics, science, whatever, or you can group them, as I said, first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. Eventually, when you go and say what are the courses that you have studied throughout your studies, you will say that I have studied 47 courses, which are representing your portfolio. Okay. So in that scenario, your portfolio are the courses that you have studied in your college period. Are we clear? Is it clear about the difference between project, program, portfolio? Project are individual things which are different from the others. Program, whenever we are clubbing the projects. Portfolio is a combination of whatever projects that I have done and whatever programs are there. Okay. Good. Okay, example 2 that I have given you already, which is related to the courses. Your colleagues tried as well, and they were okay with it. They were good with it. Now going for the project management knowledge areas. Now, as I told you, if you remember in the last class, I told you that project manager is considered as the topmost paid job, the topmost engineering job that you can get if you are being a project manager. Okay. Now, what are the things that you think it should be known for project management? What are the areas you should know before going to before properly managing your project? What do you think the areas that you should know? Okay, let us make it a bit easier for you here. So we have different knowledge areas. These are the areas that I should know about whenever I want to be expert in the area of project management. Okay, so there are 10 knowledge areas, okay, which are here. So we have scope management, schedule management, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, risk management, procurement management, stakeholder management, and then at the end we have integration. Now, once again, these are very detailed, these are very deep things. I have tried to summarize them by giving examples which will highlight for you what is the meaning of each and every area. Okay, so the first area of knowledge is whatever we call scope management. Okay, so we are going one by one. The first one is scope management. What is the meaning of scope first? What is the meaning of scope? Is there any difference between scope and target, or scope and aim? Is there any difference between scope and aim, or they are the same? Different. Same. Why it's different, Sarah? Why do you think it's different? Once again, there is no harm of trying. It is good to try. Why do you think it's different? And Sultan, why do you think it's the same?
Scope, I think it means that the last point that I want to reach, or the goal that I'm trying to achieve. So I think it is the same as the aim or the target.
Okay. Okay. So there is a slight difference. There is a slight difference actually between a scope and a target. Target is a bigger term which covers something which is bigger normally. Okay, scope is a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's say that I have let's say that I have three chapters that I need to write in a report. Okay, 3 chapters that I need to write in the report, or 3 parts. Let's say that I want to write an essay in English. It's not a report. Let's make it easier. You know that we have introduction, and then we have the body part, and we have the conclusion. Okay, 3 parts: introduction, body, and then the conclusion. Now I have grouped you in a group of 3 persons. Okay, I have grouped you in a group of 3 persons, and I said each person should be taking a part. One person should be taking an introduction, another person is taking the core, and then the third person is taking the conclusion. Okay, so Ahmed, let's say Ahmed is taking the introduction, Muhammad is taking the body, and then Saeed is taking the conclusion. Okay, so we have Ahmed, Muhammad, and then Saeed. Ahmed is taking the introduction, Muhammad is taking the body, and then Saeed is taking the introduction. What is the work of Saeed? What is the work of Saeed? What is the scope of Saeed? Saeed is going to do what only? Is he going to do the introduction? Saeed is going to do the introduction? No. Saeed is going to do the conclusion only. Okay. So when I talk about scope, I talk about the work which needs to be done by that particular party or that particular person. Okay. Once again, scope is the work that needs to be done by a single party or a group of persons. Okay. So for Saeed, his duty only to write the conclusion. Okay. His duty is only to write the conclusion. So that's his scope. When it comes to the target that they need to finish as a group, they need to finish that essay. Okay, so here the essay So writing the essay is the target, which is the bigger picture. The scope of Saeed is to write only the conclusion. So scope is normally limited to the work that you do. Target is a bigger picture. Okay. So for example, I have in a construction project, I have the contractor, I have the consultant, and I have, let's say, the owner. Contractor is the one who is building, consultant is the one who is drawing and designing, and then I have the owner. Okay. Now, the general aim or the general target that we need to finish this particular building. That's the general aim. The scope of the contractor is only to build, is not to design, is not to pay. The scope of the consultant is only to design, it is not to build or it's not to pay. The scope of the client is only to pay, not to construct and not to design. Are we clear with the meaning of scope? Okay, so scope is the thing that you need to do. Okay, scope is the thing that you need to do. Let us see it. Let us see it here. Okay, so it says for you here, scope management means defining and managing the work required. So I have a work required. I need to define it and manage it. Okay, and let us see. Let us have the example. Okay, so the task says for you. So I have given two engineers or two architects. I have given them that they need to design for me a two-story villa. A two-story villa. This is a task given. There is engineer one or architect one, and then there is engineer two. Okay. Once again, the task that I have given you is to design a two-story villa. Now, engineer number one. Okay, we'll come to the conclusion at the end. Okay. Engineer number one, he has done for me. He wanted to show his skills. He said, "Why to do a two-story villa? I'm stronger than that. I can do more than that." So he has done for me a multi-story building. The second person, he has done for me a two-story villa. Now, which one will have, if it's an exam or if it's an evaluation, which one you feel has done the correct thing? Which one has done his scope correctly? Second one. So one lesson for you as students, or even when you graduate later, one lesson for you that you need to do whatever is required from you only, nothing less and nothing more. Providing something more does not mean that you are a better person than the other person. It means that you don't listen to whatever orders has been given to you. Are we okay? For example, if you have been given a question in the exam and you have been asked to solve up to a certain limit and you have solved the whole problem, it does not show that you are capable of solving. It shows that you don't know how to read the question and you are losing your time. Are we clear with the meaning of scope management? Are we clear with the scope management? So scope management, once again, you need to know exactly what is required by the others for you, and you need to do that only. Okay. Simplest definition, you need to do whatever has been asked for you, nothing less and nothing more. Okay. Going for the second one now. Going for the second one, which is schedule management. Okay, going for the second one, which is schedule management. What is the meaning of schedule? What is the meaning of schedule? First, schedule. What's the meaning of schedule? Schedule. What's the meaning of schedule?
Distribution the works two different times.
No. Schedule refers to a time plan. Okay. Schedule.
Timetable.
Okay. Timetable. Let us make it more technical. Let's say a time plan. Okay. It's a time plan. Okay. It's a time plan. So in schedule management here, it involves a lot of things actually that will be covered in a separate chapter later. It says for you, schedule management involves estimating of project activities, developing the project schedule, and then monitoring and controlling. We'll come to details here in another chapter, which is dedicated for schedule management. The only thing for you that you need to know what is the meaning of schedule management. And once again, we are going to have the task. We are going to have two scenarios, and then you will understand what's the meaning of proper area of that management. Let's say that you have been given a task, which is you have an exam at the college that will start at 8 a.m. Okay, you have an exam at the college which is at 8 a.m. You are staying in an area which is around 30 minutes away from the college. Okay, once again, I have an exam at the college at 8 o'clock. I'm staying in an area which is 30 minutes far from the college. Okay, I have two scenarios. Student number one, student number two. Student number one, he left from home at 7 o'clock. Student number two, he has left from home exactly at 7:30. Which one you think is the correct one? First or second? The person who left from home at 7 or the person who has left from home at 7:30? Student number one. Why it is student number one if student number two is leaving at 7:30 and he requires only 30 minutes? Okay, so the correct option here is actually the correct option is going to be the first one. Okay, the correct option is going to be the first one, and the reason goes that you don't know what will you be facing when you leave the home. It might be a traffic jam. You might have an accident, la samahalla. You might have need to stop for a petrol station to refuel your car. So a lot of things might be there. So always learn when it comes to time. If you require 30 minutes, then keep for you at least 40 minutes. Keep 10 minutes to be a spare time or an extra period. Are we okay? Okay. The other thing, let's say that I have given you a task. Okay, I have given you a task. And I told you you need to tell me in how many days you will finish this task. Once again, I have given you a task. I told you need to tell me approximately in how many days you will finish the task. Now both students know that this task requires approximately 2 days. Okay. Both of the students, they know that approximately this task requires 2 days. Student number one, he said, I will do it in 2 days. Student number two, he said, I'll do it in 3 days. Which one has done the better choice? The first one or the second one? 2 days or 3 days? Okay. Why it is the second or the person who has said 3 days? Because see the scenario now. The first person, he said 2 days. Okay, so the manager is expecting that you will finish in 2 days. If you didn't finish in day number 2 and you had finished it in day number 3, it will be a problem for you, because you have specified that it requires only 2 days from you. While for the second student, he knows that it will finish in 2 days, but he said 3 days just in case of anything happens. So if he finished before 3 days, then the manager will be happy. But he is sure that he will not finish after 3 days. Are we clear? Finishing before time is something which is good. Finishing after time is something which is not good. So always, when it comes to time, if your task requires you 30 minutes, keep your time to be 45 minutes. If I finished it in 30 minutes, then it is fine and it's good. If I finished it in 42 minutes, then it's fine and good. But at least I have certain gap for anything which is unexpected. Are we okay? Are we okay with schedule management? Okay, so we have learned from schedule management that we always, we need to ensure that we need to give some flexibility in our schedule. If the task requires 5 days, then in reality, I'll just make it 7 days. Why? Maybe the material will not reach on time. Maybe one of the labor is not going to be healthy at that day. Okay. So once again, you need to give some flexibility, and you need to build it based on whatever you have right now, not based on whatever you are expecting. Are we okay? Is it clear? Can we go for the other knowledge area? Okay. Going for cost management. Cost management is very clear, and once again, there will be a dedicated chapter for cost management. It is more related to preparing and managing budget. Budget is another name for cost. Okay, budget is another name for cost plan. So when I'm doing a cost plan, we call it as a budget. Okay, so the task, I want to go and purchase an 11 Pro Max or 12 Pro Max, whatever is a phone. I want to go and purchase it from a shop. Okay, and I don't have a car, so I decided to go with a taxi driver. So once again, I need to go and purchase a phone. Okay, that costs around 500 riyals. I don't have my car with me right now, so I'm going to use a taxi to go to the shop. First man, he has taken with him 500 riyals. Second person, he has taken with him 540 riyals. Okay, so once again, first person, he has taken with him exactly 500 riyals. Second person, he has taken with him 540 riyals, taking into account that 40 riyals are going to be extra for any emergency case. Okay, now which one you think is better? Second one. Why? First one, actually, he forgot that he needs to pay for the driver, the amount of the delivery, and then he forgot that he might need to purchase extra things like cover, for example. He has 500 riyals. He needs to give to the taxi. The cost of the phone is 500, so he cannot give to the taxi driver, and he cannot purchase the phone at the same time. Second person, he has 540 riyals. He can give the taxi driver his amount of money. He will purchase his phone, and he will take extra thing if it's necessary. Always, when it comes to money, If you require 20 reals, if you are going, for example, to Lulu or Carrefour, for example, to purchase some, what you call some groceries or some items for today's iftar, for example, and you have taken with you 10 reals, okay, or you have calculated that the amount that I require is 10 reals, you should always take something more than 10 reals, okay, because you might be taking something extra or the price of the item might went up a little bit. So always when it comes to cost management, always learn to properly estimate your needs and always take an extra small margin for any change in terms of uh, the cost that you are going to pay. Are we okay? Okay. So the summary here is that you need to ensure to properly estimate your needs. The first person, he forgot that he needs to pay for the driver. Okay. The second person has covered it. So the first person didn't plan properly. Second person did plan properly. Going to quality management. What is the meaning of quality before we start? Before we start talking about quality management, what is the meaning of quality? Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of quality? What is the meaning of quality? How good it is? Okay. How it's good? Okay. Now, since all of you have answered the same thing, can you define what is the meaning of good for me? Can you define for me what is the meaning of good? What is the meaning of bad? When I say good, good is a very, what you call it, it's a very ambiguous, a very huge term. When I say bad as well, it involves a lot of things. Lasting a lot of time to be standard, good to achieve the goals, follow the standards to achieve good projects. Okay, let us have the example and it will make it clearer for you. Let us have the example. Now it says for you here, ensuring project satisfies its purpose or standards. Okay, this is the meaning of quality management. Now the example will make it a bit clearer for you. So I said for you, I have a factory. I'm doing manufacturing in terms of juices. Okay, I have juices factory. Okay, and I'm manufacturing different juices. Okay. Now I'm working on 500 milliliters or 500 ml juice bottles. So I have 500 ml juice bottles. My standard says plus or minus 20 ml is acceptable. Okay, minus or plus 20 ml is acceptable. There are two scenarios where I have manufacturer 1 and I have manufacturer 2. Manufacturer 1, he has a bottle filled till the top with 500 ml, for example. Second manufacturer, he had it till, let's say, half of it. Third manufacturer, he has supplied you with 540 ml. Okay, so once again, the first one, he has given you 500 ml of juice. Second person, he has given you 250 ml of juice. Third person, he has given you 540 ml of juice. The bottle supposed to be 500. Okay, so once again, I have three scenarios. Now I have added another scenario because you have answered good and bad. So you will understand what is the problem of saying good and bad. Okay. Now when I say manufacturer 1, the bottle is 500 and he has given me a juice of 500. Is it good or bad? Once again, the bottle is 500 ml. He has put for me juice of 500 ml. Is it good or is it bad? It is good. Is it within the standard that he has given? Is it within the standard that he has given, which is plus or 20 minus ml? Okay. So it is good and it is having the quality required. Quality means sticking to whatever standard that you are having. Okay. Second scenario, he has 250 ml. Is it good or bad? 250 ml. Bad. Does it have the quality required? Does it have the quality required? No. Third scenario, he has given you 540 ml. Is it good or bad? For you as a client, is it good or bad? As a person who will purchase the juice, as a person who will purchase the juice, is it good or bad? Not for him, for you as a client who will purchase. If you're having more juice, is it going to be good or bad? If he is going to give you more, okay, if he is going to give you, yeah, we are talking, whenever I'm talking good and bad, I'm talking about me only. Okay. When you say good or bad, you talk about yourself, your own opinion. Okay. Once again, if he has given me, if the regular thing is 500 ml and he has given me 540 ml, of course it's going to be something which is good for me. I'll be happy. He has given me more juice, right? But does it have the quality required by him? Is it fitting according to his criteria, which is minus or plus 20 ml? No. So when I say good and bad, it does not define something for you. Good and bad are very ambiguous, we say. We're very huge terms. Okay. So when you define quality management, you say whether you are fulfilling, whether you are following your standard or not. If my standard says 500 ml, then 500 plus or minus 20 is fine. If my standard says 250 ml is fine, then 250 plus or minus 200, minus or plus 20 ml is fine. I will say whether it's having the quality required based on whatever criteria that I have kept. The criteria for a person to get, or for a student to get A, that his mark should be above 90%. It does not mean that the student who got 85 is not good. A student who has got 85 marks out of 100 is very good. But he does not fit with the criteria set for a person who gets A. Are we clear? Have you understood now what's the difference between good and bad, and then the criteria which is set? Okay, very good. Once again, quality, when I talk about quality, there is a standard. If you are fulfilling that standard or you are following that standard, then you are having the quality. If you are not fulfilling it, then you are not following the standard. Resources management. What is the meaning of resources management? Resources management. Resources management. Okay. In short, it says for you effective usage of people. Whatever resources you are having, you should be properly using it. Okay. Properly using it. So I have an example once again which will make it a bit easier for you. And the task here says hiring and load allocation for staff. I have two scenarios. Scenario number one is University 1. Scenario number 2 is University 2. So I have two universities. I want to check which university has done the better management in terms of resources. University 1. Okay, we'll come to the summary later. University 1. For the job of the architect, for the job of an architecture or architect, they have brought that university, they have brought a civil engineer who will teach an architecture course. Do you think that this is good? Do you think bringing a civil engineer who will teach an architecture course is good? Okay. The other scenario, in the same university, they have 4 staff members. They have 4 lecturers. 2 lecturers are having 4 courses, and 2 lecturers are having only 2 courses. Do you think this is fine? Do you think having 4 courses for 2 lecturers and the other lecturers are having 2 courses is fine? What will happen later? If this university continue with the same system, you will see that the output of the students who were studying with this particular lecturer, the civil engineer who was teaching architecture, the output is normally or regularly is going to be poor. What will happen here? These staff are going to be pressured a lot, and then the level of education in their courses will be less compared to the other staff. So it will create for you bigger issues because you didn't know how to properly manage your resources. Second scenario, which is university number 2, for the job of an architect, they brought an architect. For the 4 staff, rather than loading 2 staff with 4, they loaded all of them with the same amount, which is 3 courses. Do you think more problems will be created in this scenario, University 2 or University 1? More problems will be created in University 1. Okay, so whatever the last point that you should know, or you should point out here, that you need to hire the person who deserves, you need to hire him, and you need to stop overloading certain people and then leaving the others. Are we okay? Did you get resources? Now, resources contains a lot of things, not only human resources. I have only covered it from one particular perspective, which is human resources. Are we okay with the resources management? Have you understood? Okay. Communication management. Okay, communication management. Do you think communication is a very important point? Do you think communication is a very important point? Okay. How would you solve the issues which are happening because of communication? Let us have the example so you'll understand more. So communication, in short, it means that you are going to deal with information. Okay. At the task, the manager needs to check the progress of an important meeting with a supplier. Okay. checking the progress of an important meeting with the supplier. So we have manager 1 and we have manager 2. Two managers are there. Okay, manager 1 and manager 2. Okay, we will come to the conclusion later. So in manager 1 case, he has asked his secretary, the manager has asked his secretary to send an email to Salim Said, okay, who is the assistant manager. The manager was busy at that day, so he has asked the secretary to send an email to Salim Said. Now the issue that there are two Salim Saids in the company. There is Salim Said, who is the assistant manager, and there is Salim Said, who is the driver. Now the secretary mistakenly has sent the email to Salim Said, the driver. The second scenario, once again the secretary sent an email, but she has sent it now to the correct person. Have you imagined the problem which has been created between scenario 1 and scenario 2? Because of only an information went to the wrong direction. Okay, because of the mistake has been done by the secretary, the assistant manager in case number 1, he didn't attend the meeting with the supplier, because eventually he didn't know anything about it. Okay, so dealing with information is very important. And in short, poor communication can destroy your entire work. A very small mistake with information can kill your whole project. Are we fine? Okay, so once again, when it comes to communication management, you need to properly address the information to the corresponding person. Risk management. Now, risk is something good or something bad? Risk, is it something good or something which is bad? Okay. What is the difference? Okay, what is the difference between risk and danger? What is the difference between risk and danger? Risk and danger? Can you tell me what is the translation of danger in Arabic? What is the translation of danger in Arabic? Can you tell me? Okay. So danger, which is khatar, is always going to be negative or bad. Danger, which is khatar in Arabic, is going to be always negative or bad. Risks, how would you translate it? Risk, how would you translate it in Arabic? Risk is translated as makhatar, okay, which is both, can be either positive or negative. So when I say risk is negative or risk is bad, that's a wrong answer. Risk can be good and it can be bad. Danger is always a bad thing. Risk is either positive or negative. I'll give you an example so you'll be convinced. I'll give you an example so you'll be convinced. Let's say that I have a construction project. Okay. Let's say that I have a construction project and I have to purchase the steel. Okay, I have purchased the steel. I need to purchase the steel. Okay. Today's today's price of the steel is 200 riyals per ton. For each 1 ton of steel, today the price is 200 riyals. And I have still small quantity of steel. Okay. I decided to take the risk and not to purchase the steel now. I decided once again to take the risk and not to purchase the steel now. I decided to purchase the steel after 1 month. Okay, so I'll use whatever steel is available with me. I'll not purchase the steel now. I'll purchase it after 1 month. Now, after 1 month, the steel price has become 240 riyals per ton. Before 1 month, it was 200. Now it is 240. Is it something good or bad? Bad. If the price after 1 month, today's price is 200. If the price after 1 month became 180, is it something good or is it something bad? Good. So now taking the risk can give you a good result and it can give you a bad result as well. So when I talk about risk does not mean risk does not mean a negative thing. Risk means that you are taking the chances and the result can be either positive or negative. People, for example, who wants to invest in purchasing gold, they will tell you, I'll not purchase today because maybe the price of the gold tomorrow is going to be higher or lesser. They are taking the risks of not purchasing today because maybe tomorrow the price of the gold will be higher. But in the same scenario, it can go lesser. Have you understood the meaning of risk and that it represents both positive and negative? Okay, so once again, when I talk about risk, it is that you are taking the chances, okay, that the result might be positive or negative. Okay, I want to drive from the college. Okay, I want to drive from the college to Al-Qarm, for example. From the college from Al-Khuwair to Al-Qarm. There are two ways for me. There is the national way and there is the expressway. Two ways are there. I don't know in which one of them there will be an accident, for example, or there will be a traffic. I'm taking the risk of choosing one of them. Whatever decision that I have taken, for example, if I have taken the expressway, my risk which I have taken, it might lead to a road without traffic, or it can give me a road which is having a traffic. So once again, risks can be positive or negative. Danger is always negative. Okay. Hopefully that made it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so risk management is about identifying, analyzing, responding to threats and opportunities. Threats is the negative part, opportunities is the positive part. Okay, which we'll come and talk about it in detail in the upcoming chapter number 2. We are going to talk about risk management itself. Okay, once again we have a task. We will end up with this particular slide, with this particular point, which is risk management because of the time. Okay, so we have a task which is planting 600 trees. I have two farmers, farmer number 1 and farmer number 2. Once again, I want to plant, I want somebody to do for me or to plant for me 600 trees. I have farmer number 1 and I have farmer number 2. Okay. And once again, we have the two scenarios. The summary will come to it later. Farmer number 1, he said for you, he requires to plant per tree, for a single small tree or baby tree, we call it. Okay. He requires 5 minutes. Okay. For each one baby tree or for each tree, he requires 5 minutes of planting. Total planting time is 600 because you have 600 trees, so 600 trees multiplied by 5. So now the total time he will require is 3000 minutes. Now what he has done, he said, I require 50 hours. Okay, I require 50 hours, which is 3 days. So what he has done, he brought his calculator. He said, I have 3000, or let's say I have 5 minutes for each tree. I have 600 trees, so I have 3000 minutes. Each hour is having 60 minutes. So 3000 divided by 60 is 50. So I require 50 hours. Okay. And he said, this 50 hours can be done in 3 days. So I'm going to divide the 50 hours in 3 days. So he wants to work for around 17 hours per day. Okay, 17 hours per day he will be working for the planting. Second person, he said once again the planting time per tree is 5 minutes. He said the total planting time is the same, which is 3000 minutes. Okay, he told you, I'm going to take extra time for unforeseen. Unforeseen are the things which are unexpected. Okay, unforeseen, things that you are not seeing. Okay, he said, I will take extra 200 minutes just in case of anything happens. And workers can work only for 8 hours. Okay. Now, according to his calculation, he has now 3,200 minutes, which will give you around 53 hours, which will give you roughly 7 days. Now, will you go with number 1 or will you go with number 2? Do you feel it's logical for a person to work for 17 hours without a stop? Do you think always that you are going to maintain your time? The first person, he said 3 days, assuming that he will work for around 16.6 or 16 hours and 40 minutes around. Okay. Continuously without stopping. The other person, true that he told me that he will finish in 7 days. The first one in 3 days, the second one in 7 days. But the issue which will happen, it's illogical for a person to work for 17 hours continuously without making a mistake. Making a mistake means a repetition of work. Repetition of work means that you will not finish on time. And once again, we return back to the concept of time, because I have looked to this from a time perspective. Now, which one would you prefer? You would prefer the farmer number 1? He told you 3 days, but he will finish in 5 days in reality? Or would you prefer the person who told you 7 days, but he will finish early? Would you prefer a person who told you a time, but he will finish late? Or a person who will tell you a time, but he will finish early? Okay. So once again, whatever project that you will be taking, you need to take all the risks into account. Okay, you need to take all the risks into account. Okay. Because you are dealing with uncertainty once again. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. So always take care for whatever risks are there. Like for example, the college could have prepared better or earlier when it comes to online teaching. The college, the university was doing some kind of online teaching before the pandemic, before the COVID, but it was not up to the mark that is required. When the pandemic has happened, nobody knew that tomorrow will be will start the COVID thing. Nobody knew about it. But if you have already been prepared, if you have taken that risk into account, that one day that I'll be forced to teach online rather than teaching the students in the college, then you shouldn't have a problem because you have prepared the solution before the problem occurs. This is what risk management is about. You see your project, you try to think what are the possible problems that I might be facing and prepare the solutions upfront. So if the problem occurs, I have the solution ready. I will not waste time for it, like how the college has done and cancelled last summer semester, because the college was not ready, like the other colleges as well, who has cancelled the remaining part of their study. Okay, doing that. Okay. And we have a big issue in terms of Oman. It's not only about the college, but in terms of Oman, we have a big issue in terms of risk management. We don't have proper risk management plans for most of the projects in Oman. That's why most of them are going to finish late, or we have problems with them. Okay. Hopefully, one day you will have the lead and you will do proper risk management to ensure things are going in the correct direction. Doing that, we have finished today's session. If you have any question, you may ask before me going to take the attendance for you.